Hey guys, I want to get a message out to you guys before it gets too hot. I like being outside because it feels more natural to me. I did put a video out earlier, but I wasn't so happy with it. And forgive the way I look today. I've got a little bit of a head cold. It just came on, and I'm working through it. But my message for you all today is to tell you, let me get my thoughts, okay? When I make my videos, when I write, when I paint, I shoot from the hip. I don't, I like to do things cold. I don't plan. And that may be a bad thing, I don't know, but it works for me. I like to just, when I get the urge to do something, I just want to do it. The words of Salman Rushdie: you cannot write a story unless you know who you are. Okay? Just as I can't speak to you guys without knowing who I am and what I'm going to say. And the reason for my channel, honestly, and I've told you guys this before, is to speak to you, to help you, to show you that you can, no matter what it is, you can do it. I get my messages. I have awakened from two tower moments in my life. One was the death of my mother, and the second one was from my divorce. You guys know this. And I'm sorry, you can't speak a message to people without having gone through something. What kind of a message would I have if my life had been peaches and cream? You know? My life has been cherries and buttermilk. As a little girl, I wanted to be loved. I mean, that right there. Move forward in love, loving yourself. And you can't love yourself until you know who you are. Mistakes and all. We're not perfect. So my message today is to tell you to keep moving forward. Love yourself first and move forward. My dear friend Caleb, love yourself first and continue moving forward. And you can get ready to get ready to get ready. But as a little girl, I wanted to be loved. I spent my early years as a daydreamer in the classroom. I got pushed aside by teachers. As a little girl, you remember the thing called the dunce cap? I got that put on my head and placed in a corner because I was too much for the teachers. I wanted to dance around instead of sit in my seat. I can recall in the 3rd grade wanting to act out my book report instead of write it. My teacher wouldn't let me. You know, I was full of life. Boom, I got pushed aside. And please excuse me. I can remember my dad being in and out of my life from as far back as I can remember. My poor mother, another person who, bless her heart, she didn't know who she was. Her mother was an alcoholic, and she put herself in the Air Force to get away from her. She met my dad in the Air Force, and as she put it, he looked mighty good in the uniform, but she didn't know who the hell he was. And they got married, and he moved her to hell, as she says, as she puts it, and that was North Carolina, where I was raised. A lot of my stories are built on that Southern humor, because it was hell for her. It wasn't always great, but I had a pretty good childhood because I created my own fun, you know. But my dad was running the road. He couldn't stay put. He didn't know what it meant to be a father. He was too young, and left us, you know. My mother would say, you know, Frank, I need money to, you know, go to the grocery store. And he'd give her $5. And she had to work 2 jobs. She struggled. We struggled a lot when I was a kid. And I can remember her, when I was about 14, threw him out and said, that's it. You know, I can't do this anymore. He'd come over to the house when she was at work and get ready for his dates, you guys. There was so much Aquanet on the bathroom floor from his primping that my flip-flops, or my tennis shoes, got stuck to the bathroom floor. He'd get ready for his dates, and he'd look in the mirror and say, I'm too good looking to be married. You see, this is what I grew up with as a role model. So, my other tower moment, my first tower moment was when my mother died. She wasn't just my mother, she was my best friend. But I realized it couldn't be who the person I am is unless she was not here. Because my mom was fighting my battles for me. I'd run to her every time I had a problem. I wasn't fully living my life. And the second tower moment came when I got divorced. When I mustered up the courage to ask my husband to get out. And I had pneumonia at the time. I yelled for him to get out. And I drove myself to MedStop. And the doctor just took one look at my eyes and said, you have pneumonia. And I thought, what? I broke a couple of ribs coughing. I was carrying around a pillow. I was holding a pillow. And, you know, my husband watched me struggle. Didn't care, didn't do one thing about it. And so, yeah, I asked him to get out. I had no idea what was going to happen to me. I had 2 children and 7 animals dependent on me. And I had no idea what I was going to do in that moment when I said, get out. I didn't care because, you guys, my spirit was almost dead. And I'm here to tell you to keep moving forward, no matter what. And the words of Lily Tomlin, the comedian, life is always under construction, because it is. Life is about the journey, not racing to the destination. You've heard me say this to you before, right? There's going to be bumps in the road, and then sometimes it's going to be nice and smooth. And when those times are nice and smooth, you rejoice and you say, thank you, God, I made it. I made it over those bumps. And what did I learn while being on those bumps, while, you know, going on that road of crazy? Boy, oh boy, you guys, I have learned so much to get to this point, and I'm here to tell you, no, life is not perfect right now because I'm not living in a house that I own, and I don't have a buttload of money in the bank. But what I have is worth so much more because I have peace in here in my heart. I have so much peace. I don't have somebody, you know, looking at me for the dreaded doing something I don't want to do. Making dinner for somebody that I can't stand. just to please somebody. Right now, my kids and I eat what we want when we want. We watch what we want on TV. We do what we want. We live the way we want to live. I'm sorry, my nose is itching. Forgive me, forgive me. There's something to be said for living life on your terms. And everybody needs to do that. Do not be a people pleaser. Do not do something because you think somebody else is going to be happy because you're doing it. Do not do that. Boy, did I have to learn that the hard way. So love yourself. Put yourself first. Love does not mean doing something to make others happy and making life comfortable for them, because guess what they're going to do? They're going to take it and keep going. You think they're going to turn around and say, oh, you've done so much for me, here, let me. I will say that my kids and I have unconditional love for each other, but we're not over here keeping a tally and saying, feed my ego first, I need stroking. We're not doing that to each other. We are peacefully coexisting, right? That's real love. Just being with each other and accepting each other and moving along. The cogs and the wheels are turning effortlessly. And we live in gratitude, and we speak it every single day. We give each other a smile, a kiss and a hug, and an I love you, and it's genuine, and we just keep going. And so I'm just going to tell you, you've just got to do things deliberately. Don't allow life to take you by the hand. When I'm telling you, stay in the driver's seat. Don't give your car keys up. Don't get off of your bike. That's what I tell my daughter. Don't get off your bicycle. Yours has somewhere to go. I know we got to go in. It's extremely dry, but I had to get this message out. Love yourself enough to love yourself. Be able to look in that mirror and say, I love myself, and admit when you did wrong. I know my part. I know my errors. I know what I did. I stayed in my marriage for 25 years too long because I was afraid. I had fear. I nearly killed myself to make this person appreciate me. And where did it get me but divorced? I wasn't happy. He just took advantage and ran with it. He went and made time with other people instead of turning inward. Like I said, do you think ever once that he turned in and said, we need to work on this together? No. I was beating myself up for both of us. It did me no good whatsoever. Until finally I realized Teresa Carroll, like Dr. Phil says, how many bricks are going to hit you before you realize you're not making yourself happy, girl? So my YouTube channel is to teach you all from my life. I have some wisdom. Damn it, I'm going to share it with you. I've been afraid for so long to speak it. I'm not saying that all the times I've been out here talking to you guys it's been fake, because it hasn't. I am rejoicing when I'm giving you guys my messages, because God has blessed me. The divine has blessed me and my children with peace of mind. Let me tell you guys something. if you are not living with peace and you've got a fake smile on your face and you've got turmoil in here, that's called building a life on a false foundation. It's going to sink. What you see around me is what the universe orchestrated for me and my kids. No, we don't own it yet, but we're on our way. So my channel is about telling you, number one, you matter. You matter. Anyone around you, people, animals, things, it's because you are bringing them in. And let me tell you something, if they're false, if they're there with hidden agendas, they're going to fall away. And you will be left with what you have asked for. But I'm going to tell you how I did it, how I made it to this spot. I lost everything. I'm hearing Barry Manilow's I Made It Through the Rain. Oh my God. His songs kind of stick with you like ABBA's songs. You get those stuck in your head and they keep playing over and over and over. But I made it through the rain and I am here to tell the tale. I did not love myself for the longest time when I was little because we struggled. Sat around and there were nights we didn't eat. We went to bed hungry because my dad decided to move back in with his mama and get keep his string of girlfriends happy. That's what he did. And he'd come over to our house and get ready for his dates. But my mother, in her anger, said, marry a rich man to keep this shit from happening. Excuse my English. And so what did I set about to do? But find me a rich man, and I will start with that. The universe plopped an older rich man in my path, and that got me started. But let me tell you something right now. Money is nice because, as the latest ex of Clint Eastwood said, well, we got to buy the bigger sizes, like the boxes of cereal. That's how money made a difference in her life. There again, lesson learned. Doesn't make that person. As Christina Ferrari said, who married John DeLorean, I married a knight on a white horse. He just fell off. So I got myself involved with a very wealthy older man who made his first million by the time he was 30. But all that glitters is not gold. So we lived on the 20th floor of a building above, across from the Queen Mary ship. I lived with him for almost 2 years because I wanted to be someone's eye candy, and that's what I was. So I'm going to start with that for you guys, okay? And got to see the Grand Prix races down below us. I met a lot of movie stars. Bang. I met Rod Stewart and his wife Alana on the elevator of the penthouse. We were coming out at the same time. Got to, meet the two of them and see his spiky rocker hairstyle and see his Rod the Mod sparkling blue tinted sunglasses. Went down into the pit of the racers. I got to meet Dan Haggerty from the show Grizzly Adams. I danced with him. I don't have any pictures, but just think of Melanie Griffith and Harrison Ford in Working Girl. That was me. but danced the night with Harrison Ford, with Dan Haggerty, Grizzly Adams. I don't know if he was married at the time, but if I had run off with him, I might have been happy. I don't know. But I'm going to leave you guys with that, and I will be back with more. Yeah, the Blue Jays are wicked here, but I love them. I've given them so many peanuts today. I'm not giving you any more till tonight. I'm going back in now. It's going to be almost 100 today, but I'm going to leave you guys with that. 2022 on the clock, 222. I love you all. Hold that thought, okay? Love yourself and continue moving forward. You can't get it all right, and you certainly aren't getting it wrong, because there is no such thing. It's called living your life, okay? I love you, and I will be back soon with another message from Miss Teresa Tells It All. I love you. Bye-bye.